Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr., and I'm here with singer songwriter Lizzie Cates. Lizzie, how are you doing today?
I am great. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing awesome. So, where are you calling in from?
I am in my home in Nashville right now. Next week, I'll be back in my original home, which is Reno, Nevada. But for right now, it's Nashville.
Okay. And you've been in Nashville for a few years now, correct?
Yeah, so April will be my 5 year, which is absolutely insane for me. Like it does not feel like 5 years.
So, has time flown by then?
Yeah, it's definitely it's weird. It's like a weird thing because like it feels like it has flown by, but when I go back and think about it, it feels like I've been here forever. So it's kind of like one of those weird things. But it definitely doesn't feel like 5 years, like if I don't think about it, all the things that I've done. But
So, have you been able to lay down roots, so to speak? You're familiar with the area and the people, and got great connections now.
yeah, it took me a while to actually make like a really solid just like friend group. But I think it's just because like being in the industry, you're constantly just I don't want to say moving on to the next person because that sounds really harsh, but it kind of is true. Like you're constantly riding with people that you never really get a chance to really fully connect with them. At least for my case. So it's nice that I finally feel like I definitely have a solid friend group now, which is awesome.
Okay. And so you're going back to Reno, Nevada, I assume, for the holidays.
Yeah, going back for Christmas. So
So what was it like growing up over in Nevada? Nevada's not a state that I'm that familiar with. I've only been there once for my brother's wedding when he got married in Las Vegas. But aside from that, I'll be honest, I don't know much about Nevada. So how was it growing up over there?
Well, a lot of people think that it's Vegas, but really, like, so I'm from Reno, which is closest to
Hmm.
Lake Tahoe, and I think that is something that I was spoiled with. If you aren't familiar with Lake Tahoe, it's one of the most beautiful lakes you'll possibly ever see. It's crystal clear, like turquoise water, freezing, but it's great. Lots of snow. Jeez, just almost dropped my water there. Sorry. Yeah, but lots of snow. It actually snowed there today, which is crazy because it was like 65 degrees in Nashville today. So it's kind of crazy the difference in temperature. But yeah, it's very dry. That was a huge shocker of me moving to Nashville because there was literally like 3% humidity in Nevada, and then you move here, and my hair that so my signature hairstyle was like braids, and I always wore like braids, but I never like pulled it back until I moved here because my hair was so frizzy. So that was a different culture for sure. Reno is very dry. Yeah, there was a music scene there. They love country music out there, but the biggest music out there actually is like pop punk and like screamo bands.
Okay.
Grew up with a lot of friends and that kind of music. I was the only country singer that I knew. So
Okay. But did that influence some of your music as well, that different genre out there?
absolutely. I was definitely an emo kid growing up. I loved pop punk music. So
Okay. So it does get a little bit influenced into your song. So I heard that you got into music as early as 5 years old. Is that true?
yeah, I mean, I've music has been embedded in my brain since I was a baby. I didn't like to fall asleep at night until my mom, she used to sing like Garth Brooks to me, and like I feel like it was her fault. She embedded it in my brain. And yeah, when I was 5, I like to say that I like quote wrote my first song. Um, I'm pretty sure it was just Twinkle Little Star, just rewritten in my own words, but as a 5 year old. But that was when I really started to like, whenever we had family gatherings, I would make everybody sit down in the living room and I'd play them something like, sing them songs and dance for them. And it was, so I like to say I started music when I was 5, but
Okay. And so I introduced you as a singer-songwriter, but it's really more emphasis on the songwriter, correct?
yeah, I mean, I definitely have my own artist career that I'm focusing on as well, but songwriting has always had my heart. I didn't, I would not be a singer if I didn't write my own stuff. And then I fell in love with writing for other people when I moved to Nashville, and getting to take on a whole different persona. It just fascinates me.
And at what point from Twinkle Twinkle Little Star to making that move to Nashville. What caused you to do that, or when did you decide, "Hey, I'm ready to make this leap"?
I mean, I've always been obsessed with Nashville. My grandma loved Nashville. Her brother actually lives here, but she's the one that showed me, was like, if you want to be a country star, you got to move to Nashville. So I've always been obsessed with the idea and the concept of Nashville, and I always would, write Nashville over everything. I had a mirror in my bedroom that I wrote in Sharpie that was like 5 things that I want to do in my life, and number one was like move to Nashville, and I've just always wanted to do that. I was terrified to do it. I wanted to do it right after high school, but with having great parents, they told me that I needed to go to college and make sure I had a backup plan. I unfortunately did not follow through with that after a while, but I first visited Nashville when I was 21 years old. 21 was a huge life-changing year for me. It was a very devastating year. I like lost a lot of things, and it was when I knew that I didn't have anything else left to lose. No, I wasn't like, nothing dramatic or anything, but it was just, I knew that I needed to make a life change, and I needed to do it very soon. So I visited Nashville by myself. I'd never been on a plane before, ever.
Mm.
And I flew out here by myself. I didn't bring anybody with me. And I just decided to go down here and
Well,
just see it for myself. And then I moved the following year after threatening to move there every month until I decided to just do it.
and I think Nashville does have that effect. Once you go, I got to go for the first time in many, many years this past summer, and I'm like, I want a second home in Nashville. But so right before you moved to Nashville, though, you came out with a very big song that kind of put you on the map, correct?
Yeah, I put it out right before I moved to Nashville. I believe it was, this is really sad. I can't even remember the exact day. I'm pretty sure it was the end of December, like the last week of December, right before January hit. And it was a song called Strangers, and it was the very first co-write I'd ever had. And it was a big deal for me because I knew that moving to Nashville, co-writing was a huge thing. And so I wanted to try it out. And it was a song that I fell in love with. And I had never, that was when we first wrote it, I was like, this is the song that is me. It's 100% me. And I mean, I've written songs forever, like since I was forever. But this was the one that when I wrote it, I was just like, I think I'm ready to move to Nashville. And we put it out, and it did really well. It got on like a lot of Spotify algorithmic playlists. And for my very first release, that I had no idea what I was even doing. It was pretty crazy. And I actually didn't find out that it was on Spotify playlists until like months later, because I didn't even have Spotify artist. So it was just like my friends were telling me like, dude, you made it on a Spotify algorithm playlist. And I was like, cool, what is that? Like, I was that green. Yeah, it was crazy. And then it got like an International Songwriter Award of Best Country Song for the year 2017. It was crazy. This song changed my life.
Well, let's go ahead and play Strangers here on Hank's Corner.
I remember being at your house on a cold October night. Leaves are falling and I was too, as we talked by the firelight. Your walls burnt down and you let me in. I saw your heart and where you've been. I remember being at your house when I fell in love that night. The stories we thought we'd tell our children someday are nothing but memories that live in dusty frames. You know, darling, there isn't anyone who knows you like I do. I'm not sure I could ever be the same without you, without you. You know, darling, there isn't anyone who called you best friend. I'll never be the same, I'll never be the same. again. Strangers again. No, darling, there isn't anyone who knows you like I do. I'm not sure I could ever be the same without you, without you. You know, darling, there isn't anyone who called you best friend. I'll never be the same, we'll never be the same. No, I'll never be the same, we'll never be the same. Now we're strangers again.
So that was Lizzie Cates, "Strangers," kind of her breakout song that you heard here on Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr. So you had a lot of success with that, but then you had another song that was actually very successful in Ireland. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, that one was totally mind blowing. I had written it, I guess we wrote it a year before we put it out, and I knew that I wanted to release it. I just didn't know when or how. But this was another one of those songs that when we first wrote it, I knew that it was me, because when I started, when I moved to Nashville, I decided I wanted to just be a songwriter. And so I started just writing for just other people, not really for me. And so I missed writing for me. So I kind of just fell off the face of the planet for a couple months and just started writing different kinds of songs. And then when we wrote that one just felt so much like the feeling that I wrote when I wrote Strangers. And so we wrote it and then we demoed it. And then I was going to New York City, and there's a line in the song that says, "You're unpredictable like New York City." And it's kind of like comparing falling in love with somebody for the first time and that chaotic feeling. And we compared it to being in New York City. And we were going there, and my boyfriend had just gotten a camera, and I was like, let's just film a bunch of random footage. And it was just me dancing around and singing in New York City. And then it just sat for probably almost a year. And then we were going to release it earlier in the year, but then COVID hit, and we didn't really know what to do. And I was just like, I'm just going to release it. And so we just didn't. I mean, I guess there was kind of a strategy, but a lot of people told me, like, you should probably wait until after COVID so you can go out and like tour on this song. But we decided to just put it out, and it did pretty well. And all of a sudden it got over to Ireland, and there's a radio station over there called Down the Road, and they're like, can we play it? And I was like, absolutely. And they've been trying to get music from the other Nashville artists over there, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But he started playing this for, everybody, and it was catching a lot of people's ears, and it was just mind blowing to me. And it just, all of a sudden it was being played all over Ireland, the UK, just everywhere. And it like went number one on the iTunes charts, radio. It was crazy. I don't know how it happened, but apparently I need to go over there.
Yeah, and so I'm very familiar with Down the Road Radio. I've talked with Mike a couple of times, and believe it or not, and I mentioned this on my podcast before, a lot of the artists that I do find or come across actually comes from Down the Road Radio. So I do enjoy that they promote the artists. They do a great job in doing that and helping people get their name out there. And I think you also have a fan page based in Ireland. Is that true
Yeah.
as well?
Yeah, I do.
So that's crazy. But
Yeah.
so the song that we're talking about is "I Like the Way," and we'll go ahead and play that here on Hank's Corner.
Changing lanes, running every red light. The way you driving's got my mind in overdrive. You handle my Corolla like a Maserati, then hit the brakes and make me spill my iced coffee. You just laugh and say I'm sorry, baby. unpredictable like New York City. With every street you keep me guessing. Baby, looking at the skyline scares me, and still I wanna see the whole thing. I like the way your hand fits right into my back pocket. Just one touch gets me going, I can't stop it. You got me all undone and tangled up, it's true. Ooh, I like the way I like you. Hey, ooh, ooh. Your lips on my lips, my feet leave the ground. We're dancing a tightrope, baby, don't work down. I like the way your hand fits. Oh, just one touch gets. Oh, oh, I like the way your hand fits right into my back pocket. Just one touch gets me going, I can't stop it. You got me all undone and tangled up, it's true. I like the way I love you. Hey, hey, hey. Yeah, I love you. I like the way, I like the way I love you.
Welcome back to Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr., and you just heard "I Like the Way" by Lizzie Cates. A great song, and I do love the video. I do love that New York feel,
Thank you.
and and you said that your boyfriend did that for you, correct? The video.
Yeah, that was like the beginning. He decided to get a camera right before COVID hit when he was on the road because he was so bored. And now it's become like his full-time job.
Okay.
And that
Well,
was the
and
first video he ever did. So
okay, and great job. And I'm a photographer and videographer on the side as well. So I always love talking shop about that. So, if he ever wants to reach out to me, I'd love to hear some of the concepts he has and bounce things off. But are you working on anything right now for the new year?
yeah, I have 4 singles that are hopefully coming out next year. We have them picked out. We've got some of them recorded. We're going back in to finish recording the rest of them. But that's the plan. That's the
Okay.
plan. And I'm definitely going to be playing one. So,
Well, I would definitely like to hear that. But tell me a little bit about the song that you'll be playing first.
so this song is a song that I wrote around the time that I wrote "I Like the Way," um, and it's personally it's definitely top 5 songs that I've ever written. And I wrote it with my 2 good friends, Andrew Capra and Davis Branch, and it was like a very fall day, and Andrew Capra showed up, and he was like, I always wear that orange hat that I wore in the music video for "I Like the Way," and Andrew Capra showed up wearing a black version of it, and we were just going on about how we love like that old classic feel, and we were like sipping apple cider that I made in these really gorgeous like teacups, like old vintage teacups, and we were talking about how we just love that old vintage romantic feel, and we were talking about how nothing's romantic anymore. And it's really funny because Davis is like very just not like dead face, but he's like super serious all the time. And so he's like, can we just write a song? But me and Andrew decided, we were like, I wish they would bring back that romantic feel. And so we ended up writing this song called "The Romantic." And it's personally one of my favorite songs. And the recording of it just sounds so magical. And I'm really excited for everybody to be hearing it. Yeah, I'm just stoked.
All right. Well, if you would love to play that for us, we would love to hear it.
Absolutely. This is called "The Romantic." Oh, how romantic. Start together, falling for each other. Let's see something blessed. Bring back the romantic with me. Fashionably late, just to the nines, like we were born in a different time. You're Clara Gable, I'll be Grace Kelly, dancing around in a dancing stream. I love that I see, reading when you kiss me, give me some dramatic, oh how romantic. Struck a fire, running through each other, let's do something drastic, bring back the romantic. Hey, hey, I'll be so bad, but you know I want that. I want that last scene, reading when you kiss me, give me some dramatic, oh how romantic. Forever after, and we was together, give me something drastic, isn't that romantic? Hey. Start the shadows, running through each other. Let's see something blessed. Bring back the romantic with me.
And you just heard Lizzie Cates singing "The Romantic," not even out yet here on Hank's Corner. Very good song. I definitely enjoyed that. And so I did say that the emphasis was on songwriting, but
Yeah.
you do have your stuff as an artist. But you've written for some big names such as Alexandra Kay, correct?
Yeah. I love Lexi. I call her Lexi, but she we've
I'm
been
not that familiar with her, so I can't do that yet.
no. No, I met her through the guy that we actually wrote the song with, Matt Wynn. I met it's actually kind of crazy because she actually used to write with Matt all the time, and she knew about me from that, but then she kind of like didn't associate. She loved my song Strangers. She heard it, and then she reached out to me. She didn't realize that I was the one, like she didn't put two and two together that I was the Lizzie that sang it. And so she reached out to me and was like, "Oh my God, I'd love to write with you." And then we got on like FaceTime, and then she was, or yeah, FaceTime to write, and she was like, "Oh my God, you're the Lizzie that sings that song." Like it was just like totally
It's
crazy.
you. It's really
Oh my God,
you.
you're the one that writes with Matt. Like it was just like this whole thing. So, and she used to live in LA at the time, and it was
Mhm.
when she was on a Netflix show called West Side. And yeah, we've been writing ever since then. And this was a song that she decided to put out, and we wrote it like we stayed up till like 1 a.m. writing this song. So I was really stoked that she put it out. I love it personally, but
And so that song is "How Do We
I
Go?"
wanna get on track to getting us back. Just tell me where to begin. How do we go from rust to shine? Just getting it done to getting it done right. Not talking it up, passing you in the hall, to needing to hear you say goodnight. I gotta know, is it worth the fight? Should I just let it go or try to change your mind? Is a chapter about to start, or the book about to close? How do we go?
And she just got the news that she's going to be touring with Tim McGraw. So I'm sure your song's going to be played, in front of I don't even know how many people. How does that feel to you?
oh my goodness, it's like it's all that I've wanted. I mean, I've loved Tim McGraw for forever, and the fact that Tim McGraw is going to hear a song that I wrote is crazy. I mean, she played it for like Randy Travis, and Randy Travis loved it, which is also crazy. And it's just
Wow.
it's cool because you know songwriting is where my heart is. So it'd be different I mean, it'd be cool if it was like me singing it, but it's almost even cooler that someone else gets to I don't like enjoy this but also with that she gets to enjoy it with like the friends and the people that she wrote it with, if that makes any sense. I'm just like word vomiting right now, but
But no, but that is awesome, and congratulations. And I know the quote on your website says you just want to make everybody feel less alone. And so whether it's your songwriting or you singing, do you feel like you're accomplishing that now?
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just, I mean, I've always been wrote from such a personal level, but just like being able to sit in a room and have them tell me their stories, and being able to write their stories and helping them, it's also making them feel less alone, like knowing that it's crazy when you get into a write and they tell you their story and you're like, dude, I've been on that level, and being able to write such personal from their point of view, but also just it also hits a mark with you. So it's just crazy that you feel alone in things and you're really not. So that's all I want to do with music, whether it's me singing it or somebody else singing it, and just writing stories. Stories have always made me feel like I belonged in life. I've always been obsessed with like fairy tales, and finding things that you can relate to in everything you do is awesome.
Okay. And I know you one of your songs that you came out with was Cool Kid, and you talk a little bit about maybe some things that happened in high school. Did you ever feel on the outside of the main group? And if so, tell me how that was.
I've never ever felt like a cool kid. Like even to this day, like they always tell you that high school is supposed to be the best years of your life, and really, it's yes, yeah, it was cool being a kid and not having like responsibility. But when you get older, the more and more you feel more comfortable in your skin. But at the same time, like especially being in the music industry, there's still gonna be mean kids, and it's kind of
Hmm.
like. But the older you get, the more and more you can just, dare I say, shake it off. Like you don't really, it's kind of like, okay, people still act like they're in high school, and that's never going to change. So why let it tear you down? So yeah, definitely never felt like I was a cool kid in high school. I mean, especially when I was in middle school, I went to a private middle school, and all the kids liked playing soccer, and they all liked the same things. And there I come in, and all I do is sit there and play my guitar and write songs. Like obviously that's like, who is that? Like she's so different. Like that was my entire middle school, high school life.
And look at you now. And do you have any advice that you would give young females that are going through that junior high and that awkward high school phase as well, or even artists that are, say, "Hey, I'm going to take the leap and go to Nashville."
Mhm.
Uh, what advice would you give them if they do come across some of these quote unquote cool kids?
Oh man. Well, first of all, high school, like your life is going to be totally different outside of high school. And that, yes, to have fun and to, have fun with your friends, but it's just, it, these people are, you're not going to know who they are after high school. So it's kind of like, just have fun and be yourself. And then same thing for the music industry. The more and more you're yourself, like you never sit there and see somebody who's quote unquote made it. That was like, yeah, I just pretended to be so and so and I made it. No one
Okay.
ever does. Like the more and more you're yourself, the more and more people are going to love you and see how genuine you are. And that, just know that there's always going to be people that want to tear you down. That's just how it is. So
All right. So for those of you that might be experiencing that, what I gather from is just kind of hang in there because things will change. And so let's go ahead and play Cool Kid here on Hank's Corner.
Thought we were friends, so you invited everybody to your party but me. You didn't care when you posted pictures that you knew I'd see, like the post you wrote about me on high school hallway bathroom stalls. Then you'd act cool when you see me
Welcome back to Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr. here with Lizzie Cates, and that was Cool Kid. And that was actually one of the songs that I first heard played, and kind of gravitated to for that because I wasn't a cool kid either, and so that was something that was very relatable for me. So thank you for putting that out. So we're getting close to Christmas here. Are you ready for Christmas?
Yes, you should see my house. I have a giant painting of Santa over my fireplace.
Oh, okay. So you do a lot of decorating then, I assume.
Yes, I love Christmas so much.
Okay. And do you do a real tree, an artificial tree, combination?
We definitely do a fake tree.
Okay. Do you put a star or an angel on top?
I actually don't do either. I actually tie a giant buffalo plaid bow on top.
Oh, okay. That's different. That's the first that I've heard that one.
Yeah.
And do you have any holiday Christmas traditions that you or your family do?
Um, well, I used to have a lot of traditions before my grandma passed away. We used to go to her house and make cookies and do the big dinner, the big shebang. um, but now, um, we don't really have any like crazy traditions. I know that me and my sisters always go to the movies on Christmas Eve, and then Christmas Day we open presents we used to open them at 6 a.m. This is gonna be the first year where we're not waking up at 6 a.m. because all of the children are grown up and like moved away. So it's I don't think we're gonna do a 6 a.m. thing, which is perfectly fine with me. But we used to wake up at 6 a.m., open presents, and then my mom would make a big breakfast. She'd make like chocolate chip pancakes and all that, and then we'd all take naps, and then for dinner we'd always have like prime rib, which is my favorite. It was my favorite food ever growing up, and I only got it once a year, so it was a huge deal. Christmas was always a huge deal for me.
So it gave you something else to look forward to.
Yeah.
How about Christmas movies? Do you have a favorite Christmas movie?
My favorite Christmas movie, which is not very popular. It actually exists on YouTube. But I had it on DVD when I was younger. It's a movie called Annabelle's Wish, and it actually had Randy Travis. He was the storyteller. He would talk because he was supposed to be the little boy grown up, and he's telling the story. But it was my favorite Christmas movie. It was this cartoon that had a cow and on a baby cow that was born on Christmas. And every Christmas, Santa comes and like throws magical powder all over or like glitter or something, whatever, all over the animals, and they can talk on Christmas. I don't know. And then every time that a cow or like an animal turns 1 year old, she gets a wish, or they get a wish. And Annabelle wants to be a reindeer. And I don't want to give away the whole thing, but the whole she has to wait a whole year to get that wish, and so it shows like the seasons, and she becomes best friends with a boy who can't talk. And
Okay. Well, that's definitely something I have not seen, but you had me at Randy Travis, so now I'm gonna look
dude,
that up and watch it.
it's so good. It's on YouTube, and it's only like 50 minutes long, so you should watch it. It's really good.
Definitely will. So, one of the questions that I normally do ask on the podcast is, what is your favorite Christmas carol? But you have a Christmas song out now called Christmas Eve. Tell me a little bit where that came from, the inspiration, and I hope you'll play that for us.
Yeah, well, to answer your question real quick, my favorite Christmas song ever is Silent Night, by the way.
Okay.
But yeah, this Christmas song was a song that we wrote very quickly. I wrote it with Josh Bill, Kate Hastings, Sarah Jones, and Robbie Artress, my producer. And those are the people I wrote like I Like the Way, We Can't Be Friends, and Cool Kid with. But Kate called me. She was running on the treadmill. She was like, I want to write a Christmas song. I want to call it Christmas Eve. I don't really know what it should be about, but I want to call it Christmas Eve. She's like, let's write it tomorrow. And so we literally got together. And of course, I brought it with like, let's make it kind of like a breakup song because I like sad Christmas songs. Don't know why, but I like sad songs. That's probably why. But we decided to write it, and we wrote it and recorded it in the same day. And we were like, I don't want to wait until next Christmas to put this out. So let's just do it. So we put it out in like 2 weeks before we wrote it. And we put it out last year. And then of course this year we're just pushing it again. But It's one of my favorite songs that I've written. It's so hopeful, and I love the production to the song so much. I love like the mandolin and the orchestra. It's just really pretty.
By this time last year, you were picking me up to take me to your mama's place. Red dress, red lips, how much that ribbon wrapped around that spiral staircase. Your eyes lit up like a string of lights. Orchid on Christmas morning. This was my favorite time of year, and you were here. But there's something about the way that the snow is falling, and the magic in the air has got me thinking maybe I should call and say I still believe in you and me, just like I still believe in Christmas Eve. We fell in love with that first kiss underneath the mistletoe. Hard to believe just how quick a year can come and go. You roll my initials in a heart right there on a frozen windshield. I know some things are meant to fade, but I gotta say there's something about the way that the snow is falling, and the magic in the air has got me thinking maybe I should call and say I still believe in you and me, just like I still believe in Christmas Eve. I'm stuck in time, stuck in this town like a snow globe. Tell me I'm not crazy, baby, to still have hope. But there's something about the way that the snow is falling, and the magic in the air. It's got me thinking maybe I should call and say I still believe in you and me, just like I still believe in Christmas Eve. I still believe in you and me. I still believe in Christmas Eve.
And that's Lizzie Cates, everybody, singing Christmas Eve on Hank's Corner. Hank Jr. Lizzie, I want to thank you so much for coming on my show today. And, I do wish you and your family a Merry Christmas, and looking forward to what you have in 2022. I think it's going to be something big, and we can't wait for that.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And I am so excited for next year. You have no idea. We are going all out.
All right. Well, thank you again, and you're welcome to be a guest anytime here on Hank's Corner.
Thank you.